We are into the final week of the fantasy football regular season. So let's do one last 5 moves to make before the playoffs. Move number 1. We're adding David Moore. David Moore has been around for a very long time, it feels like. But now in Carolina, with Jalen Coker inactive the last 2 weeks, David Moore has become a relevant fantasy piece. Now the matchups have been good. Bryce Young is playing, I think, the best football of his career right now, and David Moore has been a massive beneficiary. Over the last 2 weeks, he has 19 targets with a 23.4% target share, including a game over 20 points. He is a long-term flex play. As long as Jalen Coker is out, and especially in week 14 with multiple teams on bye week. So if David Moore is sitting out there on waivers, which he probably is, you should be adding him as just a guy you can play down the stretch here should you get in a pinch with injuries or have deep starting rosters. Move number 2, add any and all handcuff running backs. I don't care what team they play for. If the offense is good, bad, or somewhere in between, handcuff running backs are never going to be more valuable than they are for the next 4 weeks. Guys go down at insane clips, I feel like, towards the end of the season because running backs just take a beating over the course of the year. And for the most part, we've been lucky this season with running back injuries. It does feel like, the other shoe is about to drop and you don't want to be caught without backups on your roster. So guys out there that are, under 60% rostered, Kenny Gainwell, Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, Khalil Herbert-ish, maybe Jordan Mason got dropped, Isaac Guerrero. Think of any backup running back you can. Doesn't matter what team they're on. Think of them, add them to your roster. This is the time to win your leagues with backups. And it sounds insane to say, but we see it every single season. There is going to be a running back that is probably not very good that is going to be an RB1 down, the last month of the season for fantasy. Do not get caught without one of them on your roster and have a chance to win a title, because all you have to do is make the playoffs. Once you get there, it's a lot about luck. Get lucky.
Sorry to interrupt this video, but I just wanted to let everybody know that we will once again be running our annual Black Friday / Cyber Week sale, and this year is going to be our biggest sale ever. Starting immediately after Thanksgiving and running through Friday, December 6th, you can get a full year of DLF Premium access for 33% off the normal annual membership price. That is just $40 for a full year of industry-leading analysis, rankings, tools, and community from the most experienced Dynasty site on the planet. And it also includes access to our Dynasty Trade Analyzer and Trade Finder and the new Dynasty League Analyzer, which makes signing up now an absolutely incredible value. And you can sign up at this price even if you are already a subscriber. We'll just tack on another year to your subscription and you are good to go. So don't miss out on this chance to get the absolute best deal of the year on the best Dynasty site in the industry.
Move number 3, assuming you have not had your trade deadlines yet, which you should not have, buy Michael Penix as a rebuilding team. Now, look, he was drafted to Atlanta. We all thought, 2 years of sitting behind Kirk Cousins at least. That timeline may be getting pushed up right now. Over the last 3 games, over the last month, including their bye week, Kirk Cousins has thrown 6 interceptions. He's thrown 0 touchdowns. The Falcons are 0-3. It is dire right now for the Falcons. I don't know if they're going to throw Michael Penix in this season. That would just kind of feel almost mean to throw your rookie quarterback in, week 15 should Cousins struggle again. But it could happen. Really, this is more about 2025. That's the reason I call out rebuilding rosters. Because if he is sitting on the bench of a contender, he's probably available for trade because he's not giving them current value. And a lot of people are going to be thinking real short term over the next month if they're, 2-3 wins away from a fantasy football championship. I'm looking to give up aging kind of mid-tier running backs like a David Montgomery, a DeAndre Swift, maybe even a wide receiver. You want to throw them Devontae Adams and some picks, or you want to go younger and give them Xavier Worthy, right? An underperforming first-round rookie. There are different avenues that you can go here. I think Michael Penix is a great buy heading into 2025, and doing it during the season when these veteran aging players have the most value is probably the best time to do it. Because once we hit the offseason, if Kirk Cousins struggles the next month and doesn't get benched, The calls for him to not be the starter are going to be very loud, and Michael Penix's value is going to rise dramatically in the offseason, as all young players do. So this is a window I think you can get him before the inevitable rise in value, in the next 5 weeks. Move number 4, we are buying another rookie. This time we're buying Trey Benson. Now, you may think to yourself, why are we buying Trey Benson? James Conner just signed an extension. Trey Benson's value is in the gutter. That's why we're buying Trey Benson. That's exactly why we're buying Trey Benson. Basically, just doing the opposite of what the masses are going to do is usually a good bet in Dynasty, especially with his value, being perceived as quote-unquote cratering. We all understand how good James Conner is. I am the biggest James Conner fan there is probably. But I also acknowledge James Conner is going to be 30 next year. James Conner is one of the more injured backs I've seen in a long time. He can, this season is very healthy, but that can change with a snap down the stretch. And look, as these guys get older, the cliff comes quickly. If James Conner drops off the map entirely next year, I don't think anybody would really be all that surprised given how long he's been in the NFL. And he's playing such a physical position as a physical runner. Trey Benson, I still think is a good player. I think he's a great handcuff. Even down the stretch as a contender, I would buy Trey Benson because if anything happens to James Conner, Trey Benson becomes a borderline RB1 potentially. The upside is there, and right now you could probably get him for a second round pick, a late second, or maybe you want to give him multiple thirds and another handcuff to pivot off of. There are avenues here to get Trey Benson cheap, and it really is going to depend on how out, quote unquote, out the person that rosters him is. But this will vary league to league, and again, down the stretch, there is plenty of upside in Trey Benson should an injury pop up. I don't think he's dead for Dynasty, even though that's how some people are going to treat it the next couple of months here. And move number 5, we are selling any and all veterans if I am not contending for a title. That means aging running backs, guys like David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, I already mentioned as players I'm okay to sell, James Conner, Derrick Henry, hell, Saquon Barkley. If you're not looking at running backs, you want to sell wide receivers, guys that are over 29 years old, I'm looking to sell, right? Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. The types of players that you can sell right now to those contenders to get some picks back, maybe get younger wide receivers that aren't producing. Even if you want to go to the quarterbacks, you have options, right? Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson. Guys like that I think are fine to sell in Dynasty if you're not trying to win a title right now, because you never know what the next season holds for these aging players that are probably an injury away from having their career ruined. So you should be selling any and all veterans, because if you don't do it now, there is a guaranteed value drop coming. The second week 16 ends, week 17 ends, all of those veterans that are, peak value right now for the next, couple of months are going to crater. And the reason is, look, we all lose our minds over youth in the offseason. It's easy to sell upside of youth and the downfall of age. This is the time to capitalize on your aging vets. Do not miss the window.